Hey guys, so I intentionally did not really mention the actual attack on Pearl Harbor because I wanted to make a separate video on it and just highlight some of the more important events, features of the attack on Pearl Harbor. So here's a map of Pearl Harbor itself. So this is a naval base on the morning of December 7th, 1941. As you can see, there's a little key in the corner there, sunk, damaged, and just destroyers. If you look, some of the bigger ships were the ones that were sunk and or damaged. I mentioned in the last video that there were different waves that were going to come from the Japanese aircraft carriers to try and finish off this attack. The last couple waves really never made it. So the first waves were really focusing on some of the bigger things, and the last waves were going to clean up some of the littler stuff, but the last waves never got launched because the United States counterattack was so quick to get in the air. One thing I want to highlight here is this ship right here, the USS Arizona. The USS Arizona was one of the most advanced ships in the ocean at the time. It was something that a lot of the Japanese pilots were tasked with sinking. So that's going to be a real highlight for the Japanese attack to try and take out this boat right here, the USS Arizona. I have a ton of pictures, but in this case, I don't think the pictures really do it justice. I have the clip from the movie Pearl Harbor. It's a really terrible movie, but this action clip is pretty good, so I want to play it for you, and I'll talk over it a little bit here and there. Alright, so this first technology that you're going to see used at the attack of Pearl Harbor are going to be torpedo planes. So they fly kind of a medium height and they drop torpedoes into the water. This shot shows you how massive the Japanese attack really was. There were 400 something planes involved in the attack at Pearl Harbor. Alright, so the edit of this cut it out, but that pilot had a picture of the USS Arizona, just like a lot of the Japanese pilots did, because one of their main objectives, like I said, was to find that boat and sink it. And so this technology is just a bomber plane. He's just going to drop a bomb and try and hit his target. Alright, so this character right here, let me go back a second. Alright, so the actor is Cuba Gooding Jr., but the man that he portrays was Doris Miller. He's going to obviously be an African-American soldier in the United States Navy during the 1940s. Except in the 1940s, African-Americans were not fully integrated into the military yet. If you were black and you were in the Navy, you really couldn't have any kind of rank. You were probably a cook. You might have been a servant to a commanding officer. You were probably a boxer and kind of boxed for the entertainment of other troops. You weren't actually a soldier yet. But during the attack of Pearl Harbor, Doris Miller's commanding officer was killed, as were a lot of his kind of comrades. and so he is going to pick up a 50 caliber gun on one of the on the vessel that he was on, and I think he's going to shoot down 7 or 8 Japanese planes, and he never actually had training on how to use that weapon. He's going to go on and receive the Navy Cross, which is a very high high honor for someone in the Navy at the time, and he's going to be one of the first African Americans to do that. And if we look at what happens after World War II, the Navy begins to integrate itself a little bit more quickly, and you know, men like Doris Miller are part of the reasons why the military integrated the way that it did. Okay, so this is going to depict like one of the latter phases of the original attack, where they went after the airfield. So, again, first few phases, they want to go after the bigger ships. Then they want to take out the Air Force, well, it's the Navy, but the Air Force capabilities of the United States Navy to launch counterattacks, so that the last waves can come in and pick up some of the smaller ships, some of those destroyers that really didn't get touched in the first waves. But the United States is able to get their planes up in the air and launch those counterattacks rather quickly, which is why those last waves were called back to the aircraft carriers of the Japanese, and why Yamamoto says that very famous quote, "I'm afraid all we have done is awake a sleeping giant and fill it with terrible resolve." Alright, so that is the clip from the movie Pearl Harbor. Like I said, I wouldn't really recommend watching it, but yeah. These are just some pictures from the actual events of Pearl Harbor. I figure it's important to put it up here so you can see what it actually looked like. Obviously, these are after the attack. Not many pictures were taken of the actual attack because it was such a surprise. There is Admiral Yamamoto, and the one that I want to leave you on for this video is this one right here. This is the memorial at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, and if you look, you see a ship here. That is the USS Arizona, the ship that I just showed you as it sank. and it was one of the biggest boats in the water at the time, and the Japanese sunk it, and they built a memorial on top because it sank so quickly, almost everyone on board died. So that's Pearl Harbor. That's the video. Let me know if you have any questions, and as always, be good.